Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our first Cabinet meeting of the year, January Cabinet meeting. Item number 1 then, apologies for absence. We don't have any apologies today. Item number 2, are there any declarations of interest? No? Thank you. We move then to item number 3, which are the minutes from the December Cabinet. These are on pages 3 to 20 of your packs. Are members content to move these as a true record? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that. The next item then is the substantive item on our agenda today, item number 4, the replacement local development plan, growth and spatial options consultation and the revised delivery agreement. And this is on pages 21 to 112 of the packs. And you'll be aware, of colleagues, of the ongoing work in relation to this. Now, this report seeks Cabinet approval to progress with public consultation on the growth and spatial options for the new replacement LDP, and also to request endorsement of a revised delivery agreement. Reflecting back, you will be aware that in October 2020, Newport City Council agreed to begin the formal review process of the LDP, and in May 2021, the Welsh Government confirmed its approval of our delivery agreement. The delivery agreement is an important part of the plan preparation process, and this sets out the processes of plan preparation, making clear the opportunities and methods of engagement required by legislation, regulations and Welsh Government guidance. There is a requirement to keep the delivery agreement under review, and a revision is needed when the preparation of the plan falls behind the approved timeline by more than 3 months. The timescale has slipped slightly, and a revised delivery agreement is required to be approved by Welsh Government. Now, the reasons for this delay primarily relate to recruitment issues, but importantly, there's been a great deal of uncertainty around the implications of the draft TAN 15, which has significant implications for Newport. And whilst this issue remains unresolved, we can't continue to delay the work on the replacement local development plan. And I am pleased to note the ongoing discussions with Welsh Government with regards to that draft notice. So the report also seeks authorisation to go out to consult on the next stage of the replacement LDP in January 2023, and this is on growth and spatial options. Should we choose to endorse the revised timetable, colleagues, Welsh Government sign-off will be required. Informal discussions have been held with Welsh Government on the revisions, and they've indicated their agreement with the revisions. And this would mean that the revised local development plan would be due for formal adoption in February 2026. In terms of any financial implications, the staffing issues have resulted in an underspend during the current year, and figures indicate that despite the delay, the replacement local development plan can be delivered within the project budget. I'd just like to pause there and invite the Cabinet member to perhaps give us some more information on the growth and spatial options consultation aspect of this.
Thank you, Leader. I think what's key about a consultation is the involvement. You know, it's something as us as a listening council have always promoted, and since I've been on council, or since we've had the leader, it's something that we sort of pride ourselves on, and in the importance of the consultation. So what I would ask is for people to take the time, and if this is agreed today, which I really hope it will be agreed, and for me personally, I can't see any reasons why not, is for this consultation to go out to all stakeholders. It is important because the journey, and I think people have to realise this when we're in the council, the journey is not just for Newport Council, it's not just for us today in this room, it's for Newport as a whole. with any consultation. But this really can change Newport for the future, and it's something which the more people are involved in, the more it can change. So as I said, for me, it's a journey that we're in. It's a journey we have to progress, and a journey that I really believe positives can come out of it today, if agreed.
Thank you very much for that. Deputy Leader.
Thank you very much, Leader. I just wanted to quickly refer to two industries that already exist in Newport. SPTS have actually already commenced construction of their new research and development manufacturing site that's actually based in, they're actually based in Phoenix Park, I believe. Is that correct? And I wanted to quote the company. It was actually stated as they started to rebuild, and their statement actually reads, "Expanding in South Wales allows us to tap into the region's attractive talent pool and benefits from an appealing quality of life, with access to many international sports events, historic parks and outdoor activities. This area is also home to some of UK's leading universities and research institutes with strong semiconductor competencies and industry ties for collaborative research." And right alongside that is based IQE, which is already producing compound semiconductors. And their president, the CEO, actually states, "We are committed to continuous innovation and providing solutions that help propel the semiconductor industry forward and deliver technologies that make a meaningful impact on our world." This investment and expansion in Wales will help us to continue to develop wafer processing solutions for the high-growth secular industries and build on the existing expertise in advanced packaging and compound semiconductor processing technologies to strengthen our portfolio of solutions for 5G communications, electric vehicles, consumer electronics, data centres, medical devices, and much, much, much more. Therefore, what I really would like to see this consultation being about is a real opportunity for our residents to actually be imaginative, to consider what opportunities we have as a city. We've already got these industries here. We've already got a strong voice on the world stage. What can be added to that? We're really at the start of something exciting, and I think it's our opportunity for our residents to speak on this. Thank you, Leader.
Absolutely agree with you there. Thank you very much for that. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader, if I don't break it first. My colleague is quite right, Councillor Clark. We are on a long journey, and it has been long, but right at the very beginning, to bring our residents on board so they are fully appraised of what we're hoping to achieve, what we can achieve with their help. And for me, it's a no-brainer. It should go out to consultation with immediate effect as far as I'm concerned. Fully support.
That's great. Thank you for that, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Batruni.
Thank you, Leader. Listen very carefully to the Cabinet member, Councillor Clark, and he's absolutely right, and as you are, Leader, about consulting early. We don't have to do this. We're doing this because we're a transparent council, we're a listening council, as Councillor Clark outlined. And it's important to start thinking about these things and the evidence bases around, and I'm reading the paper from Edge Analytics and the Employment Land Review, and I went through the census because they're releasing more and more statistics, and things we have to think about, consider, and to think about them now, and to consult and see what people out there think. So we're, with Cardiff, have the highest number of people per household in all of Wales. So we're matching Cardiff. We have the second highest density in Wales, second to Cardiff, by a long way. Higher than Swansea, who have a bigger population. So we're more crammed in. So are we concerned about that? We might not be, but we have to think about these things. We know from the census that 28% of the population in Newport work from home now. Are we seeing a shift, or are we not? Was it COVID spike, and will we see return levels? We know nearly 50% of people travel within 10 kilometres for employment when they do travel. All these things we start to think about and factor in, which we can only do through consultation. We can only do by going early. And these are things we're doing now. So I welcome this, I support this, and it's important that we and people in Newport consult and consider these questions seriously.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Petruni. Thank you. Councillor Hughes.
Good afternoon, Leader. I find it amazing, but it was 35 years ago to the week that I first visited Newport for the first time, and a few years later, like many others in the city, I decided to make it my home. So in that period, as my colleagues just mentioned, Newport's population has become the fastest growing city in Wales, and we've seen a significant increase in births compared to other regions, excuse me, and understandably a rise in the demand for housing. So I think the growing popularity is linked to affordable housing for sure, but often we overlook the other factors that encourage people to move to the city. Factors that we have raised recently, factors that have been raised recently in the media. They've noticed the improvements, I think, in Newport, and these include the modern and developing riverside, our great theatre, our university. There's a modern change happening in Newport. That includes, again, the redevelopment of the shopping centre, our stunning market, and we continue one of the most significant, I think, regeneration programmes in the UK, with investments delivering huge transformations and creating new business opportunities, which are being capitalised. We have proven that we've got the ability to run national and international events. We've got an international conference centre and lots of development happening all over the city. For example, the growing community of Glanllyn. We have excellent links to other parts of the UK, and we're rightly called the Gateway City. We're also well on our way to becoming a super connected city digitally. We have good schools, stunning countryside and fantastic parks, and some of the best musicians, artists and festivals in the country, which is one of the reasons I moved to the city. Only last week, one media outlet even had us down as one of the Wales's trendy up-and-coming cities and noted the strength of our many independent retailers, music venues and outstanding food outlets. Sometimes it's much easier to knock a city, and like most other cities, we've struggled through years of austerity, and that's robbed the city of a significant amount of money. It's slow progress, and it's hampered our dreams and visions. And now we see additional pressures enforced by an out-of-control Westminster government. But while Newport has a past, we also have a bright future, I think. And despite all the challenges, I remain thankful in so many ways that I chose Newport to be my home. And other people and businesses are now choosing to come here just as we did. They see our journey and our potential, and the LDP is just one part of that jigsaw that will make their future successful, sustainable and super connected. Like my colleagues, I hope that those people born in Newport and those people that have moved to Newport like myself will take part in the consultation and help us deliver a really successful future for the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution, Councillor Hughes. Thank you. Councillor Forsey.
Good afternoon, Leader. As well as being a transparent council and a listening council, it's important that we're a green council. Part of the replacement local development plan is the ISA, the Integrated Sustainability Appraisal. This includes, among other things, sustainability appraisal, strategic environment assessment, and well-being of future generations. The strategic development plan will define a green belt and only allow development on the green belt in exceptional circumstances. Therefore, there will be a strong protection for the green belt, which is important for our green areas. So whilst we welcome growth, it is important that it is as sustainable as possible, and the replacement local development plan will set out a framework for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Forsey. Thank you. Are there any further contributions from Cabinet members? Okay. So, colleagues, the growth and spatial options stage is an informal stage, and I think it's really important that we emphasise this, that this is our choice to go out and really find out, as Councillor Petruni said, what the views of our residents are, and also those people who may choose to reside here in future. Colleagues, you will be aware that Newport is identified as a national growth area in future Wales. The National Plan 2040, which is the top tier of development plan for planning purposes in Wales. So, and I think that really sets out the framework for our discussions, is that recognition by Welsh Government, as we've discussed here today, of the potential for growth for Newport. And so it's really important within that context that people do have an opportunity to put their views forward. And given Welsh Government's aspiration for growth in Newport, it's important that we do get this stage right. So I welcome the opportunity to encourage people to respond to this consultation. So, colleagues, we've been asked to approve the Growth and Spatial Options paper to be taken through to informal community consultation, and also to endorse the continued preparation of the replacement LDP in line with the revisions to the delivery agreement, which will be submitted to Welsh Government for formal approval. Are colleagues content to agree that? Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for that. And we'll look forward to seeing those consultation responses as they come forward in due course. We'll move to item number 5 on our agenda then today, and this is the Western Gateway Partnership update, and this can be found on pages 113 to 118 of the packs. Now, the purpose of the report is to provide an update to colleagues on this. And I'd just like to give you an overview, really, of the Western Gateway for those colleagues who haven't been part of these discussions previously. It was formally established in November 2019, and the Western Gateway essentially is a strategic partnership which aims to establish and deliver an economic powerhouse along the M4 and M5 corridor, specifically driving growth on both sides of the River Severn. Now, as one of the 5 cities, Newport's a key player in the success of the partnership, and we stand to profit from the benefits that greater collaboration will bring. As a partnership, the region has nearly 4.4 million residents, approximately 160,000 businesses, and in the region of around 2.1 million jobs. We've got excellent connectivity, major motorways and roads, 2 airports, and we've also got some deep water ports. I last provided Cabinet with an update in February last year, and since then the partnership has been busy developing and embedding priorities and work streams. Certainly, as a Vice Chair of the partnership, I'm very proud of the way the partnership is growing and maturing and the real progress that's being made towards delivering on our commitments. And I'm particularly pleased to report on the new prospectus which has been launched. And the prospectus identifies 5 missions, all of which seek to deliver greater regional growth, as well as recognising the need to decarbonise our economy. And the first mission set out by the partnership is to grow the regional economy by £3.4 billion by increasing productivity across the region. Now, we know that the Western Gateway is already home to over 55% of the UK's high-growth businesses, including, as the Deputy Leader has already highlighted in the meeting today, our very own compound semiconductor cluster here in Newport. Yet collectively, if you look across the region, we've got a productivity level which is lower than the UK average. So there's work to be done here across the Western Gateway Partnership geography to really increase that productivity. Now, it's clear that we need to bridge this gap to ensure that the region fulfills and hopefully exceeds its potential. And this involves working with supply chains and linking businesses together to make them more resilient and efficient. The second mission is to grow international trade and exports by £4 billion. Now, with our excellent connectivity and accessibility to multimodal forms of transport, we are an international gateway capable of securing direct access to international markets. We've a global brand to offer, which can lead to greater investment and increased exports for our businesses. And something that we touched on already in our meeting today is decarbonisation. And the third mission of the Western Gateway really does focus on decarbonisation and becoming a world leader in green energy. We've all the core assets available to us, including solar, tidal and wind. The Severn Estuary alone has the potential to contribute up to 7% of the UK's energy needs. And when coupled with the emerging excellence that we have in our region in relation to hydrogen, we are starting to see the real potential for renewable energy generation. This will be transformational in terms of meeting future energy needs. The fourth mission seeks to improve connectivity between all of our businesses and communities across the region. And we know how important it is for people to be able to travel, to access basic needs, such as housing, work and education. And we've discussed travel to work areas already today in this meeting. Now, the Western Gateway are currently looking at rail connectivity and how we can join up and address any gaps arising from improvements to the Great Western Main Line and the Cardiff Capital Region's Metro scheme. And I'm really pleased to be able personally to play a role within that work stream. The final mission of the Western Gateway recognises the importance of innovation and the need to support and grow superclusters within our high-value sectors. And I think it's when we're talking about the Western Gateway, and actually we're looking at the resources we have available to us within the region, it's also important to acknowledge the location of the UK research councils within this geography as well. There are significant research strengths within this economic geography. Now, in order to deliver these commitments, the Partnership Board are always looking for opportunities to raise awareness and promote opportunities which exist. And our very first Western Gateway Conference was held on March the 8th last year here at the ICCW in Newport, and it was very well received. There was also a development conference in November in Bristol, and the partnership had a presence at the UK Real Estate Investment and Infrastructure Forum. Having a presence at national and international trade events really helps promote awareness of the Western Gateway, the wider Western Gateway region, but also, for us, it helps promote awareness of Newport, and it provides us with access to investors which we wouldn't otherwise have. Now, in terms of governance, the partnership has updated its governance and assurance framework to ensure that the terms of reference for the board remain up to date and appropriate. And as you may be aware, South Gloucestershire remain the accountable body for the partnership and the Secretariat staff. I'm really pleased to highlight and the funding that is in place for the Western Gateway, because the Western Gateway is principally funded by a capacity payment from the Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities. And we've secured £3 million for the next 3 years from the UK government to support this. And it really is very pleasing indeed that UK government recognises this cross-border partnership and the contribution that we can all play in terms of economic growth within the region. In addition to the funding secured from UK government, there's an annual financial contribution of £10,000, which is paid by local authority partners to support the work of the Secretariat. So I think at that point, colleagues, I'd just like to pause and really open up for any contributions that colleagues may wish to make on the particular item. Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Leader. I really welcome the fact that we're actually part of the Western Gateway. And you look at the detail and you realise that we're one of 8 cities, but it's the clear objectives for a cleaner, fairer future. It's delivering that for 4.4 million people. Its intention is to be inclusive and to promote and deliver on a decarbonised economic future. I think it's excellent that we're part of this partnership. You look at the website; it's easy to access, and I really encourage residents to do so. It really does lay out quite clearly what the ambition for the Western Gateway is, and Leader, you certainly mentioned the fact that there's development currently for a regional energy strategy that's focusing on being carbon neutral by 2050. And there's one particular point that I really wanted to focus on because I think it actually points to how well we're working in Newport. But actually is South East Wales local authorities. It's actually noted as good practice that we're already focusing on a carbon neutral agenda by 2030, and they can see that we're already delivering on that, and that will feed into what's happening within the Western Gateway. So I think there's great things happening, but as local authorities, we're already delivering on those as well. Thank you, Leader.
Thanks very much for that, Deputy Leader. And again, it's the strength of the region that a lot of that work is progressing at pace. So it's a very positive development. Councillor Hughes. You're on mute, Jace.
Thank you, Leader. Just to say, as someone who's actually worked on these regional groups in the city, I'd just like to acknowledge your own role in forging these partnerships with the region and the significant impact that this is having on improving our city as Vice Chair. So while we know that the regional initiative, it's a regional initiative, Newport is playing its full part, and Newport is benefiting. And few people, I think, make the link between these regional initiatives and the success stories that lie behind them for our city. And we all benefit from these success stories. So as Vice Chair, I know you are committed to the region, but also promoting our city within that region and ensuring that we have an important role to play and that we've got a seat at the front table, as it were. And I think that the decisions that we make on these regional bodies will make a significant impact to the city as we move forward. So I'd just like to thank you for your role in that.
Thank you very much for your kind words there, Councillor Hughes, and much appreciated. Councillor Marshall.
Thank you, Leader. Likewise, with my colleague has just noted, starting off on the historical side, that Newport has been a big player on the regional basis, so England and Welsh side of where we lie. And on that, it has so much potential. And I think leading the way in things like, as colleagues have mentioned, technological jobs. We have a vibrant artistic scene. One of my Cabinet colleagues advised that we have more artists based in the city, which I didn't know. And we're in a great position geographically and shouldn't be hesitant to utilise this in terms of the Western Gateway Partnership and looking at what we can deliver in terms of great sustainable projects, but also to play a great part and look forward to seeing this progress, promoting Newport while strengthening what we already have and building forward on exciting projects. And as my colleague Councillor Hughes has noted, it's great to have yourself as Vice Chair, a strong voice to promote the city, which I know you do at every chance possible. So it's fantastic to have and really good to have. So yeah, just looking forward to seeing it progress, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Marshall. Thank you. Councillor Batruni.
It was as a newbie to Newport City Council, I was trying to think of the right words. And previously based at a rural council, I know colleagues on the Cabinet get a sense of this, but it's important. Newport tends to have this negative vibe around it. The people tend to talk negative about Newport, just generally in the ether. And I know the Cabinet speak positively, and rightly so, about the positive things and about the Western Gateway. But it's important to remember, Newport is the gateway to Wales. We have the links to London. We have the port itself. We have the history. We have the Roman history. We have so many things going well for us. And I was looking at the city list just there. I would strongly argue, I'm biased, we have the greatest potential to fulfill the aims and objectives of this Western Gateway prospectus. And I don't want to say that lightly. And our ambitions with a data centre and being a data city show where we want to go, show what we're going to deliver, and we have the assets in this city, we have the people, we have the location, and we have the leadership. And I think we're going to show the rest of the cities in this partnership what we can deliver.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Petruni. And it's very refreshing, actually, to hear those comments and those observations for somebody who's come in with a fresh perspective. So thank you very much for that. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader. I just want to echo all my colleagues' comments. We are grateful that you're on the table. Not physically on the table, I mean around the table. You could be on the table by the end of the night, but who knows? But all jokes aside, you have really promoted Newport in the best way possible. And it's down, as you said, we are the gateway to Wales. I love Newport. Yes, people do talk it down, but they're just boring and miserable. Most people I speak to big it up, which is exactly what it needs. It's a wonderful place to live, work, and bring your families up. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Harvey. Councillor Lacey.
Thank you, Leader. Newport was my gateway city to a job in Bristol some 20 years ago. But what can be seen from this partnership is that Newport is now a gateway city to many businesses that are relocating here. It's a strategic position between two airports and deep water ports. And we're now seeing technological businesses setting up in the western side of the city, aside from many more. The International Conference Centre is bringing headliners and national conferences down to the city as well. Over the past few years, I could say that I've used the city centre so much more than I have done, which is really exciting to see the independent retailers and other things come in. But what is more exciting, or what's most exciting, and has been as a promotion of this Western Gateway, is that the skilled, well-paid jobs that are now coming to the city that are bringing people and residents down to live here and to work here as well, which is promoting the city centre economy. So, brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Lacey. Thank you. I don't think we got any further comments there from colleagues. So just to conclude, of course, this report is for information. But as our discussion really highlights, I think we all recognise the opportunities that the Western Gateway Partnership provides for Newport. It is a strong strategic partnership. And of course, as you've pointed out, colleagues, it will help to deliver benefits for our businesses and our industries in the region. And of course, what this delivers, great opportunities for our residents and a really good quality of life. So I think to conclude, this is a really strong example of the benefits that we can achieve through working in partnership and the realisation that we can't do everything on our own, but collectively and collaboratively we can achieve, and we can achieve the ambitions for Newport. So are colleagues content to accept that report? Thank you. We move on then to item number 6 on our agenda, and this is our standing item on our agenda, the Newport City Council response to external pressures impacting on public council services. This report is on pages 119 to 123 of your packs. And as you'll be aware, colleagues, the report is the latest update on Newport City Council's response to external pressures. And the monthly report provides us with an overview of the current, wider economic impact at UK and Welsh levels since the last report was presented to Cabinet in December 2022. For many of our residents, this will be one of the most difficult winters that they can remember. And we continue to do all that we can in collaboration with our key partners across the city. The really important message that I want to send today is to encourage any of our residents who are struggling to contact the council, who can provide help and support for people to pay their bills and try and prevent them from getting into any financial difficulty. We are here. Contact the council, contact your local councillor. Please don't let this build up and suffer in silence. We are here and we are able to signpost you in the direction of support and resources to help you. Now, As the chair of One Newport, I am confident of our strong partnerships across the city, and I was further heartened by the commitment and passion of all of our partners to do all that we can when I held a cost of living summit in November. Our officers have been and will continue to facilitate community-based events across the city with a range of partners, providing advice and guidance on the support available from local and national sources. And we continue, of course, to support Welsh Government initiatives, including warm spaces and Claim What's Yours. And I really like to emphasise the very important role of that campaign. It's something that we've all got a responsibility to highlight to our residents, that there is a very strong campaign out there and there are ways of people accessing their full entitlements when it comes to resources that are available to them. And we can, again, help people to do that. Now, we launched our Warm Spaces offer under the stewardship of our Cabinet member, Councillor Harvey, and the Council are providing 7 warm spaces in our own buildings. But we're working with voluntary and community organisations who are also facilitating further warm spaces as well. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of our volunteers in our communities, and particularly our faith groups who've come forward to participate in this. We do have a list of participating organisations on the website, and I would appeal to groups who are perhaps facilitating this but haven't made people aware of it. If you'd like us to help to promote what you're doing in your community, please get in touch and we'll make sure that information is made publicly available as well. Now, colleagues from across the Council continue also to support people through the Homes for Ukraine scheme and the Welsh Super Sponsor scheme. We're at a period of considerable risk for both schemes as the initial hosting arrangements come to an end, and the Council awaits confirmation on whether initial accommodation hotels procured through the Super Sponsor scheme will be extended from March 2023. So there is some uncertainty around this while we await this confirmation of the next steps by the government. In December, the UK government announced changes to the funding regime, and the £10,500 support payments will not be extended, and payments for new arrivals will be reduced to £5,900. So a significant difference there in the financial support that's been made available from government. We do know, however, that payments to hosts will increase from £350 per month to £500 per month after a year of hosting. And local authorities in England will also be given access to a £500 million fund to purchase accommodation for people from Ukraine, but this has not been extended to devolved nations. So I think there's 2 key aspects to this report, and that is the very real pressures that everybody is experiencing at the moment in terms of the cost of living, and also that the additional challenges that we face while trying to do our very best as a city of sanctuary for those people who need that support the most at this time. So I'll just pause at this point and invite comments from Cabinet colleagues. Councillor Harvey.
Thanks, Leader. I also would like to put my thanks on record to the staff for getting the warm spaces up and running really quickly. It's being utilised. You are correct. There's a lot of churches that come forward, but if there are any more people out there with a space, please come forward. They go on about they don't want the UK to break up in London. They want the UK to stay together. We're all one country. No, we're not. You quite clearly have given £500 million to local authorities in England. Why are you not doing it for Wales, Scotland, Ireland? Why did central government do anything that they do? The biggest thing that they have done is create, in 2023, a time warp of the 1800s. We are all, I know you are, losing sleep over people going to work, coming home and not being able to feed their family. It is absolutely horrific. We have got Ravenhouse Trust and other facilities coming forward and giving us food parcels so we can deliver to residents. Yeah, we're going to do that, of course we are, and we will. But what sticks in my throat, they got 500 million for England and they got nothing for Wales. Well, newsflash, people are people no matter where they come from. It's just their accent that's different. They still are going hungry. They still are working all the hours God sends, and they're still not getting no help from this awful, rubbish government. And the quicker they're gone, the better. Thanks, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. I concur with your comments. Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Leader. If you look at the document, it focuses on how our schools are specifically focusing on helping support those children who are most in need in relation to free breakfast clubs, either running their own house food banks and uniform banks, many schemes that they've actually been undertaking in recent times, things that you wouldn't have expected schools to have to do when you look at schools 20 years ago or even 5 years ago. But one thing I wanted to highlight and particularly focus on and to specifically thank our teachers for is the number of schools across Newport who collated and put together food hampers for families. And those food hampers ensured that those families had a Christmas dinner. There were many schools who did this. They actually either fundraised, used school funds, or they used their PG funds. But it was actually teachers who took that time to purchase that food, make sure it's properly shared and distributed to those families they most identified in need. Those food hampers also included presents to ensure those families and those children had some sense of normality and enjoyment of what our Christmas should all be about. And I really am grateful to those staff who took the extra time to do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very important point there. Thank you. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you again, Leader. I spent the morning, as we do now, the councillors in Killeen, the Labour councillors, twice a week in a community church and council led project in Killeen called Iscahaven. And since about November time now, the project has been supporting people locally with mainly, to be honest, as you'd imagine, financial issues in the community and people's anxieties around the cost of living crisis. And I'm coming back to really what you were saying earlier, that this wouldn't happen really without really strong partnership working between the community, between the local church, between food banks, and between the council as well, who provided exceptional sort of information for us to continue our work on issues such as financial. And it's a combination effect. We've got really great community groups like Killeen Kindness Exchange in Killeen, who work with food poverty, Raven's House. And it's that cumulative effect, I think, that helps the group do what they do. I think it's really important that that we acknowledge that it's a team effort. We've got Garbo involved, and it's really sort of. I think it's making a real difference. Although the figures for some people wouldn't seem particularly large, it's a small project. I think we've helped every single person who's walked through the door and linked them into other support groups. And I think that's the key, really. I think you've nailed it on the head, really. It's about that partnership, community coming together and making a difference. And I think the council plays a key role in that. And I'd just like to thank everybody personally, really, that has become involved in that project and many other projects throughout the city who are making a difference, really, to the lives of people that really struggle during this very difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Hughes. And I think your contribution there does highlight an important element of this, that when we talk about volunteers in communities and community groups, it is also important to acknowledge the role that elected members play in this, because elected members are giving their time freely to support their communities as well. And it's really important that we acknowledge that they are playing a role within their communities in relation to this, yourself included. So thank you very much for that, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Marshall.
Yeah, thank you very much, Leader. Spoken already about partnerships, but I think it's fantastic to see members of our community, not just the residents, businesses, there's staff, there's teachers, there's a whole range of people that are out there supporting people, especially during the hard time over Christmas, and it was fantastic to see, and much appreciation to that. Ourselves were delivering food parcels over the Christmas period, and meeting and greeting people, and just trying to engage with them, to work with them, to say don't be embarrassed. If there is issues, let us know, and we can signpost you to the right places. And I'd also like to highlight about the community connectors are there as well, and they do meet regularly as well on that side, and to have a look at those for those residents. But also the warmth banks as well have proven to be beneficial to those that would normally feel isolated in their homes. So it's given them another forum to meet and greet other people, which may, in these dark times, if you want to call it that, actually have a bit of light coming out of that, and hopefully make a bit more friendships in the local community, which will benefit them in the long run that way as well. And as Cabinet colleagues have mentioned already, the schools, the staff within the schools have been, a massive help to those in the community, making sure that the students and families can do well as much as they can there. And also just to link in, the staff in the local hubs have been also fantastic, and just across the board. I know, even though a lot of staff aren't necessarily focused towards community, they in their own time and, will try and benefit as much as they can to help people locally. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Marshall. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Leader. I just really want to touch on what you've said and your comments at the start. About how you've mentioned how tough it's going to be for Newport, as it will be elsewhere. But I think what the residents of Newport need to know, and how important this time is, it's about leadership. These tough times, you need leaders. You need people to push this forward. And what I would say to the residents of Newport is we've got a leader who leads and understands the people of Newport and the residents of Newport, where I would suggest the UK government haven't got that. They're out of touch. We've got a leader who leads us as a council, us as a cabinet, but also, as she's a Newport lady, has Newport at every decision, at the heart of every decision. And I think that's key. I really think that's key, because this is when you're counted, and people don't understand sometimes all these groups and the meetings, etc., they're tough decisions which have to be had. But when the leader, she has mentioned that if you are worried, if you need support, if you need help, we are there. It's not words, it's actually from the heart, which is so key. So what I would say is we are there for you, Newport. It is going to be tough, it really is. But rest assured, you're in hands which will look after you. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Clark. Thank you indeed. Councillor Batruni.
Thank you, Leader. As Councillor Clark alluded to, and yourself, you read the cost of living section on here, and it's a depressing read, and we're going to have to steel ourselves, aren't we? Because this is the tip, as the interest rates start to have the effect on mortgage repayments particularly. Council tax reduction scheme, more inquiries, housing team, more housing benefit claimants. Councillor Clark knows better than anyone else on this. Housing team seeing more increase of advice, which we welcome, but there's a surge and added to the workload. And many of my councillors, Councillor Harvey, Councillor Davis, Councillor Marshall, Councillor Hughes, talked about the amazing community and partnerships and what many people are doing off their own back to help and support the community in the short term. And people observing this cabinet meeting might be thinking, why did the council talk about going early with the RLDP? Why are they talking about the Western Gateway? Well, those are our long-term solutions to fend off moments like this in our economy. having a strong, robust economy, bringing the skills and the jobs to this, having the right housing supply in the long term. So when these economic issues happen again, and they will in the future hit this city, we'll be better placed, more resilient to fight off these effects that have such a detrimental impact on people's lives. Because not only is it the short-term effect and advice, it's the long-term social consequences that affect these families, more family breakups, and all other social consequences that affect from that. We talk about, at length, Western Gateway. We talk about going on in these consultations because we want to head these things off in the future. I just want to emphasise why we talk about these issues.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Petruni, and thank you to all colleagues, actually, for taking the time to really consider this report and the impacts of the work that we're doing. And one thing that I would like to just pause and reflect on and comment on, and I know that Councillor Harvey has mentioned this as well, is the contribution that our officers, and I know Councillor Davis gave this example of in our schools, the commitment of the officers across the whole of the authority who give their own time to support the residents of Newport in this way is absolutely tremendous. And we've got some fantastic examples across all of our service areas where people go in above and beyond to support the population of Newport. And as Councillor Clark said, we are here, and we are here to help. And we're really fortunate that those officers that we have in our authority are completely committed to public service and the values of public service, and they go above and beyond in order to deliver for the people of Newport. So huge thanks to all of our officers for the role that they play in that. So just to conclude then, I can see there are no further comments. We've had an opportunity to discuss this report, and you know, as Councillor Petruni has highlighted, there will be further challenges going forward now, and we'll continue to have this as a standing item on our agenda in order to provide an update as we go forwards. The final item then on our agenda today is item number 7, and this is our work programme on pages 125 to 132 of your packs. Are colleagues content to accept the work programme? In that case then, colleagues, thank you all very much for your contributions today. Thank you to the officers who've supported the Cabinet in this meeting, and we draw the meeting to a close.